MiniWarGaming's The Utgard Infestation!
Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and it's time for Story Time Part 5 for the Utgard Infestation 40k narrative campaign. Of course, if you haven't watched the previous missions, go and do so now, because you're just going to be jumping into this mid-story, and it won't make quite as much sense. And there will be lots and lots of spoilers. So what happened? Well, we had Selene and her forces attempt to punch through the PDF lines, and they didn't just succeed, they just succeeded with very few losses. They just punched through, destroying the PDF in their way, and driving a wedge and getting through the battle lines and into the city. In the meantime, Croyle was able to land his forces and kill the PDF that were guarding the elevator. They were surprised when there were cultists and gene stealers who started to pour out from the ground, and even some other Tyranid organisms as well. But Inquisitor Croyle's newfound powers proved to make him a very, very successful weapon against the Tyranids, as he struck down many of them. And so now there was two things that need to happen. First off, they need to deal with the governor. And thankfully, the Imperial Guard cruiser has now arrived, and the commander of the Imperial Guard has ordered his regiments to land, and he starts to land them, and before he's even landed all of his forces, he starts to have them march out against the PDF. And the PDF and the Imperial Guard, who are loyal to the governor, proved to not be sufficient to hold off several regiments of Imperial Guard, including armor. And these are, a lot of them are nice and elite and veterans, and they just start to punch right through. It's a grueling battle, though. It's not an easy fight. It's not like they just walked all over them. Many losses on both sides. Even as they started to push into the city, gene stealers and cultists started coming up out of the ground and contributing to the fight at close quarters, costing the lives of many of the troops. While this fight is going on, Croyle and Selene meet up behind enemy lines, as they had managed to get into the city, and they plan on dealing with the governor. The Imperial Guard commander actually has a bunch of his artillery set up, and bombers in the air, and even his cruiser in the sky, ready to just level the palace, because they realized that that would be the easiest way to deal with the governor and the infestation that is inside of there. But Croyle and Selene don't want this to happen. They want to deal with the governor personally, in person, both for different reasons. Selene, of course, wants revenge. She wants to go in and use the relic blade she is sworn to protect, to behead him and have the justice for the Emperor and for the sisters. Croyle actually wants to get him alive so that he can interrogate and find out what he can about the gene stealer cult that is here. Both of them, of course, can get their wish, because he can take him alive, interrogate him, and then Selene could execute him using the relic blade. And so they hold off, but they do give standing orders to the commander to level the palace should they fail, so should they not be able to come back out. So Croyle and Selene bring their best men and women to form an elite strike force to get inside this palace. And it's not very hard for them to get in. They just have to find out what kind of forces they're going to be dealing with once they get up to the level where the governor is to be found. So that will be one of the missions below. And then at the same time, there's a surprise Tyranid force that starts to burst out of the ground at the staging area of the Imperial Guard, trying to disrupt their reinforcement lines. And this deals with all sorts of tunneling organisms as they burst out and try to stop it. And if they're successful, it won't stop the Imperial Guard from taking the planet. It'll just slow them down, which at this point, the big threat is no longer will the Tyranids be able to take over the entire planet. It's will they cause enough damage and be so thoroughly infested throughout all the civilization that the only real course of action that the Inquisitor will have will be to order an exterminatus. And the Inquisitor doesn't want to do this. The Sisters of Battle certainly don't want him to do this, because this is their shrine world. This is what they've been sworn to protect, this world and this relic. And once this is all over, they can return the relic to the shrine, rebuild the shrine, and then stand and protect it for centuries more to come. So the Inquisitor does not want this. And so the Imperial Guard, of course, are left to defend against a surprise Tyranid attack to see if they can hold it off. So we have our two missions at the links below. We have mission 5A, which will be Selene and Croyle and their forces going in to take out the governor. And we'll find out what happens there. That's going to be actually a fun little mission, and it's going to be played in very close quarter battles in an office building kind of environment. And then we have mission 5B, which is the Tyranid assault on the Imperial Guard staging area, which will be mission 5B. Both of these will be the links below. 5B, of course, will be available to Vault members only, as that is how we do all of these. If you're not a Vault member, you can, of course, click it and get a free 7-day trial and get instant access to it and all the previous ones and everything else that's in the vault right now too. And it really helps to support us, so we appreciate anybody who does do that or anybody who is a vault member. So go ahead, click the links below, and happy wargaming.